All right, welcome guys to another Raw Day Trading. We're going to do another study sesh here, and we're checking out today a couple things. Trading in the first 5 minutes, or towards the end of it, or just after it, I was down $300. After that, I made TRNR halt up. I think we'll see. We'll check the review, and then some low volume knife fights on ENVB, and that was following a big TRNR buying of the trend line fail that instantly lost me like 350 in a split second on small size. So I lost about 15 cents on that. Without, I wouldn't say it's not proper. I don't know if I had it defined quite so properly, and sometimes you can't really define these kind of rules so precisely because it depends on when people buy and sell, and that changes as everyone's kind of adapting to each other. But having said that, I am ending the day down only $88 compared to what I was down, which was, let's say, 350, 5, 6. It was around $600 to $800 at one point, with a pretty significant loss on a stop out on 7,500 shares on a pretty volatile name, which I was really trying to get in there. So let's take a look at it. Forgive me because I'm coming back from a dermatologist appointment follow-up, and I may have forgotten a few things, although I do have notes. The day is not totally fresh in my mind, but I will be going through it, trying to learn some lessons every day and get better for tomorrow. I look like a rumpled mess, but I'm feeling a considerable amount better than earlier this week. Oh, thank God, that was a rough one. Usually my kind of response to getting slightly ill, got the Trump voice there, to getting slightly ill is drinking a lot of water. And this time, the drinking a lot of water resulted in me throwing up. And so it's kind of just like not drinking a lot of water, not feeling great. I don't know if it was because I wasn't drinking a lot of water. And then finally I've been able to like increase the amount of water I've been drinking, like without my stomach getting so upset, and that's made me feel a lot better. And now here we are. I'm here. I'm actually looking for my water now that I mention it, so I'm gonna find it, and then I found my water, and we got the video today. So I traded for a bit longer than expected. It got dull for a second. I checked my profit. I think I was down or flat, but only slightly. And then immediately after that, I fall into the trade after the profit check trap, and whatever that is, I just trade in a way it seems in retrospect that loses me money. Anyways, that's all besides the point. That's superstition, because I'm just going to call it superstition. Pretend like I have control over the entire world through statistics. Okay, so the two main stocks I had on watch, we had ENVB, TRNR, and then there was this other one, MULN, that was off on the side that had really made a run up into the pre-market, into the open. And I was like, okay, this one's got to be spent. This is what happens usually when you have these stocks run up so quickly into the open, they just sell off. And not only did that one sell off, but a lot of the other stocks did sell off along with it. The shorts came out in force again. I think a lot of people thought they were on the defensive after the beginning to this week, but they kind of are like, yo, we're back to make money, and that's okay. That's okay. We need them too. They need us. We need them. It's you need when you're doing a knife fight, you need people to fight against, or you're not going to win anything. Just going to fight against the. I mean, that was a great trade out the open. If you would have got it, I'm on the not trading for the first 5 minutes, or trading small for the first 5 minutes. Bandwagon still, even though the last couple of days have been hot. TNR, TRNR, ENVB, both sitting here watching. I mean, look at that reversal there. Like, it pops up above the 20 SMA, pops up above that pivot just slightly, and that's usually a red flag for me. It pops up above, people go short, and they're like, all right, and then now they're going to start taking profit here, it looks like. But still, it was the wrong place. It was the wrong place to buy up at the highs, and now I'm kind of looking at it for this break above. But a little bit late, I feel like now I don't want to get in. I hesitated. I did hesitate there. I did hesitate on this one. This is actually one of my favorite setups, is the contra spike, only because everything in the market happens in contradiction to what you want to happen, usually. So that's happening. We have TNR going, and at the same time, I do have my mental safety lock on, telling me not to trade in the first 5 minutes. And honestly, $2,500 for what I've been trading with recently is decent size on a volatile stock that's moving. What's that? 25 cents in a candle. So that is a little bit highly controversial, whether it was a good internal move to make or not. Missing those trades, I'd say I'll stay on the safe side for now. If we keep seeing a lot of action, the other thing that I don't know is what the liquidity and the fills would have been on the open. That's always been a questionable problem that I've had as well. Within the first at least 2 minutes, the malfunctions, the slowness, the slippage, etc., do tend to get played a little bit differently than in other times in the market. We're much more liable just to get roasted. I had a little trade right there. Nothing really happened, but it was the right location. I was really scared of it doing that type of move, but to the other side, and boy, oh boy, did I miss out. I was like basically in on the perfect position. Look at this. Great entry. Okay, it does a little push there. I get the pullback, the little micro pull. It is early in the candle. That would have been another location to get it. Oh boy, and this move would have been epic. And then loading up for the blow through 50 would have been really nice. I think going in with small size would have given me the advantage of maybe not being subject to as much slippage. And I could have added too. And I could have seen what slippage I got on the smaller position. So maybe even if I had that at 1,500 shares, that would have been okay. But I kept the same size that I would have taken from, down near consolidation. And that might have been the mistake I made there. Coming back here to MULN, it ends up holding up. I thought it would just totally fail. And then I'm looking at it. This one halts up. I'm thinking, okay, maybe this one does too. We'll see. I actually forget. I don't think I trade too much on it. I have small size out. It's basically testing size. This one's super volatile. even though ENVB is technically more volatile, something about this price range always fakes me out. And I generally seem to trade this price range, even when more volatile, a little bit better. So whatever, maybe like the increments that it moves, just like really like chunks me out. I have to like closed in of a mental framework of the price frames. This was actually an initial position that I was looking at. I had it pulled up. I was watching it. I come in here, so the close of 33 is basically like when I get settled into it. And to make a decision right here, let's see what could have been the decision. Maybe the breakthrough 5. Let's see the breakthrough 5 and the hold of something. Break lower, break lower, break lower. All right, maybe right there. Take it. Starts pushing up. There's a little double bottom action. It didn't quite break down. It would be the dangerous one. I don't know if I would have survived the double bottom. I could have got the first one and maybe the second one, like 10 cents of profit, and then maybe jump back in. And so like that would have looked like in a cadence sort of manner. I'll just call it out verbally. But okay, it's coming down here through 5. I'm looking for a flush and then a slight hold of the flush. Not yet, not yet. I need another more red on the tape. Okay, there we go, in. And then it starts pushing up, out. And then, there's a seller. Back in. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Back out. Back in. See, now I'm in the trap of taking the highs. And then it's starting to pay off. Okay, so I'm just like, okay, it's green again, so we'll cut it. All right. But, let's see what else happens. I don't really expect much from this now. It's about to close in a weird position. It's like, if you look at it, this chart pattern, this is a green chart pattern. It got bought up. It's a higher low. It's a bottoming tail. But it's not really after, not after that big of a run. The 5 minutes about to close here, what statistically has been happening in the recent past is that first 5 minute candle is getting reversed totally, and then you have just the sheer volatility risk on this thing. This could go to fucking nothing in a second. All that aside, I think it does go higher here. I'm not convinced. And so I don't think I take anything, do I? I think it goes back down to 5 personally. But instinctively, I think that's where it goes. But I think I remember it might have pushed higher here. I'm not sure. I don't really know. But that's 50 cents of range, Even with 500 shares, you can lose a couple hundred pretty quickly. Okay, so yeah, back down to 5. Another lower high too. So now it's kind of wedging. It's like, what's going to happen? Where's the fake out going to be? All these things are like, you're kind of like doing this internal calculus. I don't even know what calculus is. I didn't even take it in school. But I'm just a dumb trader. Ooh. All right, so I'm back to TRNR. This thing already makes an extension back higher. Way too high, in my opinion. That 5 minutes about to close. The candle should have been a lot tighter. Really should have been a lot tighter for me to take it here. It should have been, okay, so this, switching over to TRNR. In order for me to take this setup, what would have had to happen was this make an extension lower, maybe this make an extension lower, and then a small green candle within. Instead, you have a test high green candle, and it comes down, and then now it's kind of just bounced back and forth between the range so many times. I think the next entry would have been probably at the low of the ranges. instead of where I think I'm going to take it, which is probably right here. Yep. And I get pinned instantly. It lets me in above the ask. Thank you. You're welcome. I think I'm good enough to cut it. Yeah, I hesitate long on that, even though it let me. Okay. And then it's probably going to go now. So I jump back in. It gives that hint. And then now I'm down 200. Okay. And now I'm going to jump back in one more time here. Right. And so entry, you would have waited for that. Let's wait for the dip of the dip of the dip of the dip of the dip. And then now I'm kind of at the highs, kind of playing like, okay, do I jump back in again? It's already kind of been down to the 30s. And then now I jump back into the midpoint. I'm like, it's starting sort of this new, like, down step consolidation zone. And I think people are going to be selling into it as it hesitates. And now I'm down 270. And I'm just like, look how far it is beneath VWAP. Look how far it is beneath the 20 SMA. I just don't think that was productive. And I would have made a lot more money had I not done that. You know, this 273 would have been green. You know. I did good. What I did good on. Okay, and then, of course, after I'm done with it, it pops up. This, of course, my horse. You know, we know it's coming. It's just that the risk. I mean, we know high percentage it's coming. The problem is the risk of staying in with such a high basis, a high initial position. So, like, let's say in here, if you're in here, up here. Let me see. Is there a drawing tool? I don't know if there's a drawing tool. If you're in here, let's say up here at the close of this candle, drops down here, looks pretty bearish, but it's holding. The risk there from having a position much higher and having to cut down here is way worse than having a position down here and having to cut down here. And so that's why I cut it right there. And that's why I try to get back in and then I cut it right there. And so, like, even those two cuts, you know, I was in at, 42, 43. I'd probably be cutting down. That would be down 10 cents. And let's say I wait for the next candle. I don't know how low that's going to dip. So that's about 5 cents there, maybe 6 cents of like, loss. But, like, if I were to be at 43, it goes down to 33, which it did, 32. And then it's holding, you know, it might pop up, but it also, you know, might have kept going down to 30, 27, 25 before it goes higher, or even if it does go higher, even though there's a high likelihood, that small risk is just outside of my pay grade. I think it's outside of really a lot of people's pay grade, unless this is a small position initially that they're coming in with and they have that plan to be like, look, there wasn't much of a test higher. I want to load into this. This is a good cost basis. So I'm going to be adding for that initial pop, and then I'll be cutting as it goes higher. And that does work, although be very, very careful. Just be careful. I mean, this is not investment advice. This is just what I've seen other traders do, how they trade. You know, there's many ways to skin this cat. Basically, you buy at one price and you want to sell at a more advantageous price, whether it's lower if you're short or higher if you're long. And there's lots of turns in the price. There's lots of time frames to trade on, and there's lots of sizes you can trade with. So for whatever that's worth, this is not investment advice. It's just merely like what I have seen other people do. And then personally, I found that whenever I try to hold I generally hold on the wrong names, cut it at the worst levels when it turns around. Because when it's ugliest is usually the lowest, and especially in these very contained, tightly contested stocks where it's like longs and shorts are just fucking coming at it. It's a very hard thing to do because when there's a battle like this and it gets pushed out of hand so far, sometimes that other side isn't able to recover. And when you have a sort of very finicky market with a very, illiquid stock where it's like the price can jump because there's not a lot of shares available to trade. Not a lot of people willing to take the other side of the trade. It's like there's a lot of resistance until, the line is, there's a lot of resistance till the line is crossed, and then that line just explodes and then it just goes away. It's just like, and everyone has to sell, and then shorts jump on, or the reverse happens, longs have to sell, and all the shorts have to cover. And you just, knowing that, are pushed to the limits of your willingness to absorb that risk of that happening every time you trade like this. So, just personally, I don't do it that much or at all, really. I just found I was able to, avoid my biggest losses. I'm talking like 14K. I think there was one trade. Yeah, there was one trade where I lost 14K in a trade. Doing that where I had a just load on the way down, just like halt after halt after halt after halt. And I maxed out my buying power, and then voila. And then since then, I've never maxed out my buying power. I've played like a chicken, and I've consistently made money. So I don't know, for whatever that's worth. I've been making the chicken errors instead of the tiger errors, and at some point that's going to switch to be a more balanced error profile. But we'll see. Not gonna. Yeah, I will switch that to tiger errors, but it's going to be smart tiger errors, and it's not going to be errors where I can be put in that position, like at least not in the same way. Maybe in another position I'll just be caught and nothing I can do. Maybe there's a news halt or something, but whatever. That's going to be different. Anyways, back to the game. So it does this recovery thing, and I'm like, keeps catching a bid. It dipped down here again, keeps catching a bid. ENVB opens up. I don't make any money on it. Trading with small size. Let's see how I handled this halt, actually. Did I handle it well? I know I lost money on it, but did I handle it well? Is all I want to know. Does a pop. Now waiting for the dip. Really goes down. I buy there. And I get filled. Yeah, this is a hard one because it did like a double, triple bottom down there. And then now it's sort of kind of starting to push up. Now it's like, what? Do you want to push for the green high? Let's see a little dip here. Okay, maybe right there. Get in. Ooh. UV green. UV green. Okay, so you're holding now. You're like, let's see you push before. I want to see that green. Where's that green candle at? Where's that green? Boom, cut it. Oh, now it almost halts. Buy right there. Sell. Let's buy. Sell. Buy. Ooh, sell. Almost flat. All right, so that 5 minutes about to close. Can't see right now because I don't have zoomed in on how it's going to close. Let's see what happens here. Hmm. So I'm not yet focused. I'm going to rewind and show you guys that. Okay, so this is back down. 5. Sell. Buy. Sell. Buy. Sell. Buy. Buy. Sell, sell. Buy. Sell. Fucker. All right, so that was that. That was that open there. Let's go back to this TRNR. We're going to look at this trade here. And I wasn't really expecting this to happen, but I'm like, I kind of test 50. I think it's going to test above 50. That was the only trade I wanted. I didn't really want anything crazy. The 5 minute was about to close. I kind of wanted to position slightly before. I'm like, okay, boom. And I hit it. And instantly it lifts up, and I'm selling at 04, and I'm in at like 47, and I'm selling at 04, and then it halts up, and I'm pretty sure I triggered that. But we'll look at the basics of what was happening there. So this stock had tested high on this kind of like micro range here. It was sold off and then like indicated that there was some buying pressure up here, double indicated, and then kept indicating that it was like testing this 50 level. This 5 minute was closing. It looked like it was going to close green. We weren't sure though. And it was sort of like bouncing back and forth, sort of like doing this seesaw motion underneath, making all these wicks. And I could have waited for there to be like a higher entry, but a lot of times what happens is that like the higher it goes here, it could be bouncing off 55 and coming back down really quickly. And size, I'm probably getting filled at 56, 57, yay. And then if I get up here, who knows what happens, because it's just like so up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And then, so I'm sort of trying to anticipate this. And then what I see is like, okay, it tries to fail here, it doesn't fail. You have this candle is green, but it's getting pushed down. It's under this level of resistance. It's not looking fantastic, but it's not looking like it's dead. It has this low volume that's kind of recovered, this low volume area right here. It's kind of recovered by, and I just want to test higher. That's the only trade I'm going for. I think it's going to fail. I think there's a lot of people kind of watching this because you have ENVB, which halted up, going. The MULN, I think at the time might have halted down already, but maybe not. No, it hadn't enough halted down. It was in the first. This was the first 15. This is the first 10 minutes still. And then I was like sitting here with my hand on the buy button and just being like, I think maybe possibly this may work, ready to jump out really quickly. If it doesn't, I'll take the L. And I'm like, I need to slightly anticipate it. Not too much, because it does look like it's going to break down. But if it doesn't, boom, boom, out. Only wish I would have stayed lightly longer, slightly longer. But yeah, that was fantastic. Good trade. Put me back green on the day, like $20 or something. But I was red for a second. Fair enough. $20 was like the highest I was up. But anyways, let's go jump forward to 45. This is where I had a flush fail, and it was with ENVB. So ENVB had this tight consolidation range. It had this kind of high volume pinout candle. I'm looking for the shot to 42, 44, maybe a retest of 45, 40. Sorry, I'm not speaking correct numbers. I'm looking for a shot to 420, 440, a shot to 460, at least like a retest of this area, of this halt level. That's what I'm looking for on ENVB. I'm like, I think it can do it. It's kind of consolidation. Down here, the volume is descending. The 5-minute doesn't look great. There's a lot of volume in this sort of whatever. What am I saying? In the second candle, it's red, but having said that it's red doesn't maybe make as much significance because there was only 3 candles in this sort of 5-minute candle, and then so this whole consolidation was just happening on the excited volume after the halt, and not necessarily on all the volume that may come in over time. And so I was like, all right, it looks okay. Now let's see how this plays out. And I was pretty confident, but I was also pretty cautious where I had small size on. Missed that halt open. That halt open was pretty spectacular. This dip back down to lows. Pretty spectacular. And, if you kind of like held through that or just kept trading it, whew. Anyways, so here, the first indication that it wasn't a clear dip to take, as in like this may not be the best, was that there was one. Actually, we'll go this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tests lower. Okay, let's say you don't include the one that tested down first out of the halt. There were still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tests lower, and this is now the actual 6 tests lower of this area of the like 3.8. And so, like, what are you going to buy? It's going to break through 75. It's going to unload a lot. There was significant red volume here, a small green candle, a lower green candle, decent red volume out there, although not crazy. And then it's a close of the 5-minute. It's a high volume red candle to like be a counterpoint to like my kind of earlier comment on how it was still decent volume, but like not crazy. It's still a red candle. This is kind of what people respond off of. Not totally, but like in part. So it's breaking. I'm watching it. I'm like, let's see. There's a lot of red volume going through. And then I take the flush, and I think oof. And I'm holding that. I was holding that heavy. Let's see if I can run that back a little bit. So I should have been cutting there. be getting there, cutting there. But I take 15 cents of loss on that. I get 10 cents back on that. No, I take 25 cents of loss. Never mind. So what ends up happening is it really blows through this, and it blows through the 20 SMA. It blows through, I mean, it just blew through levels. It was just like the pre-market highs, because it kind of already did test the pre-market highs, I guess. That was a good excuse maybe to be more cautious, but it's also like, yeah, this could test again. It didn't test the highs up here. The other thing, though, is like there was so much pent-up energy in here that I guess this was just like an explosion, like people accumulating, and then they're like, yo, we got to let it go. And I got caught in that wave of, yo, we got to let it go. Hey, boo-boo. And so thank God I had small size. But on the flip side, there was this trade where it was the new candle. I jumped in, decent position, and I just let it work, and it cleared, 10 cents, and I made back a little bit. And I think I make a little bit more, I'm not sure. But that was a messy experience. Again, I'm still like 1 for 10 on these extreme flushes. And so I think sitting here being like, which would be the dip to take in this situation? Well, let's watch it. And I'll move this over here. Like, if you kind of missed it last time, you'll see it now. Although level 2 was up, and you probably saw some of it. Okay, so the 5-minute closes, and it's like, ooh, which dip do I take here? Let's see. First dip down. Let's see the flash. Oh, does it test higher? Not really. Okay, so let's take the dip. Test higher? No, not really. Test higher? Not really. Looks like it's trying to, though. It wants to test 4, I think. Okay, so buy there. Oh, there's a big, sell. Sell that. That's getting eaten up. So that's a big flush. Should have sold there. And I think, yeah. Yeah, and so if I were waiting for it, so I've been looking less at the level 2, and then I did miss this sort of like 80 level where there was that big buyer that got eaten up, and that was my bad. But I was focused on the chart, and it makes me much more, I should just be more, okay, so that was maybe not the right dip to take, but like, let's see where is the right dip to take. Come on, let's see this. And saying there is a right dip to take, well, we got this one. It's about to close. Okay. Actually, let's even run it back a little bit farther. Like, this looks good. Looks good, like it's, running up. Got the lows around the 80s of this little range. Got that kind of gap that it's holding here, the high of the gap. All right, so let's say buy right there. Sell. Buy right there. It's looking difficult, but not impossible. There's people buying it. Oh, sell, buy. Sell, buy, and I do buy. Okay, so I'm in at 88. All right, I get a little bit, like as in half a penny. Right. Okay. So it's not quite as, it's like jumpy down. Okay, so maybe buy there. Wait. No. I gotta hold up here. Okay, so let's say, okay, new candle opens, clean candle, right? Hmm. Looks like a little bit. It kind of just like did this little floaty thing. Like I'm not seeing any like kind of defined action here. It's okay. So I get in. Hmm. And that was a good. It was a good entry. Like that hesitation was a great entry. It would have worked out nicely. And then where's the next entry? All right, now it's 1, 2, 3 down. Let's see what the first. Let's see what the first. Let's see if this looks a little bit better. Okay, so we're looking at this fresh candle. Hmm. So test high. Tricky, yeah? Because like once it tests high, it's like, what's it gonna do? Comes back and tests. Okay, so that might be something else. Interesting. Does it go test low again? Looks like it wants to. So it's just kind of like bouncing everywhere. Hmm. Back down. It's like, where do you take it here? So this was kind of like, you can tell it was hesitating. You can tell that people wanted it back towards 4-5. And where to take it was an open debate because some places that look good, okay, right there, boom, that looked good. Buy again. And then I did buy there. Interesting. I let myself be juked out there. Um, Buy again. Actually, that might have been a little premature. Now it would be heavily loaded in this position, but the stop would be sort of near my basis, maybe a little lower. Everything's looking right on the chart for like a shot back to 4. And then above 4, I would be unloading. Starting to load here. 1, unload 2. And then unload 3 would be the right move right there. All right. And then coming in again, like the setup just becomes, okay, so how many times are you going to stair step lower even within the same consolidation range? Do you wait for it to pop above 4 and hold above 4? Do you try to anticipate it? My thought was try to get it on the dip lower, maybe to 75-ish and see if it holds, but it obviously didn't hold. So I'm sitting here watching, I'm sitting here waiting. I get a great cost basis, but it just did keep going lower, unfortunately. And so kind of my discernment for these larger flushes versus mini flushes is a little bit off. And that's what I'm working on. So let's see what it looks like. There's a lot of stacking selling right there, but I'm not too concerned. I'm actually waiting for it to push the price lower. Honestly, I think a lot of people are waiting for that price to push lower because that's an obvious level. People want it to be, want to see what's happening down here. Okay, it's hesitating second there. Oh, no, it's going lower, 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 lower. Oh, boom, should be cutting right there. And I wait a second too long. It's down 10 cents more. Get that 10 cents back though. But still, second too long. Second too long on that initial cut too. Or on the initial spot I should have cut. The secondary spot, a second too long, so it's 2 seconds too long. While TRNR is going. Interesting. Also, the other thing we could have looked at was these red lines right here. These are both, or right here, and then like it's a little bit lower on the chart. These are both, what's it called? It's a gap, like it's a gap. It filled the gap, like there's a space in the daily chart, and it came up and filled the space, and now it's kind of reversing off that. It kind of already accomplished its mission in a sense, like the stock did, the expectations of what the stock will do, and so maybe that's why people backed off from it. So that was that. So I'm just grateful I didn't try to anticipate that with large size. All right, made a little money back. Who gives a shit? Flush fail. Yeah, and I think it could be. So there's two ways that I could play this personally. One, I can just do the mini flushes, wait for these big flushes to get themselves out of the system. I think I was trying to do that, but I was thinking that this was a mini flush, although the numbers on level 2, they weren't quite computing, or maybe I was just like, oh, it looks like it's at this level. And I'm like, that's a bigger flush, whatever. I don't know. Could have waited for the candle to close, lose a little alpha on it, but gain a little security, and then overall, make money on the day, which I like. So buying main flush, caution. Nope. All right, let's look at the next one. It's 10:08. So where are we at? ATCH. Not trading this. This is high professional level volatility. This is double black diamond of stocks. This is, you don't want to be messing around with that. I mean, personally, I don't have the tools, I don't think, in Thinkorswim or the aptitude with the size. Mainly just the confidence, really. Like, I'm sure I could anticipate where it's going. That basically means nothing. Anticipate, hold through the swing in your profit and loss, risk it on the table. That's where the money comes in. Putting those all together nicely and being able to execute on that on time in the right way. Okay, 10:07, TRNR. Look what we got going here. So you have halts up for a second time. These nice 2 red volume candles, kind of signaling the end of the run, to be honest. Not saying it's the end of the action, but it's probably the end of the run. Unless these 2 candles get, overcome, it's like, we got problems. But we'll see. Stuff happens. I'm sitting here. Okay, so it checks higher here, and when I say check higher, I mean it opens. This last candle opened. So 7, it's going to close in 1 second, 2 seconds, 1 second. It's going to go high, so go to 43, reverse down. It's going to have a lot of volatility. It's going to kind of be in range though, okay. But it goes down. Kind of gets bought up there. And for a second time, it's going to go a little bit lower. Actually, it's going to hold here, trying to attract buyers, because that's what the market likes to do. It likes to attract the money. Everyone place their bets. It's a big bucky. Hey, bada 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 bada. Swing bada bada bada. Bet on the racehorse. You go. Okay, so now this ends up being the low right here of this candle. Then you buy in, it closes. It's at some sort of previous levels of resistance, whatever. Now it's kind of checking higher. Probably going to check lower right here. Nope. Oh, this keeps going high. There's a little jump there. All right. And then now, let's see what I'm going to look at. I think I'm going to do the double check on the trend line. I mean, I'm looking at it. I remember, yeah, so here it goes right here. This is me looking at the chart. I'm like, what's going on? So it's the first test of this trend line. Second test, actually. But I'm like, it's testing the trend line. Looks like it's going to... why does it... I don't know why. Like, look at this. It's immediately. It's not 1 second before. It's not 1 second after. It's like immediately when I buy, it changes. What the fuck happens? Do you guys see that? I don't know if you can see that. This is the stock market, guys. It's like immediately. I don't know. Okay, so here's what I'm looking at. What do I see that I want to buy? Okay, so checks higher. So now I know, in my head, it's a vulnerable place, right? I get it. And also in my head, it's a low volume candle. I don't wait for it to close though, so it's not for sure a low volume candle. So let's see. There's 15 seconds left. I wonder, does it make some sort of new low or something? Okay, so there is heavy resistance here. Okay, so 19. That was such a joke. I'm like rewinding the tape and trying to look at the flow of orders and to see. The only thing that I'm seeing that I can report is that there is consistent heavy selling. It's not just like one little bit of selling. It's consistent heavy selling. Boom, boom, boom. And then the buying, which is not there. There is buying. It's small. Maybe that's a little bit bigger. 22, okay. A lot of red. A lot of red. Okay, so there's some green on the tape here. So buy, buy, buy. Buy, sell, buy. 19. Close of the 15-second candle. I hate that I have to know that. Okay, so I buy it right after the close of the 15-second. And then down here goes, it jumps from 16 to 17. I cut it immediately, which is good. Did great on that. Like, let's see if there's any delay. I don't know. Honestly, might have been a little delay. No, it just dropped to 05. Didn't really, like, I can pause it, but like, it's really just a transition price in between that next level. Okay, well, what can we say about that? Suck. I guess wait for the next candle to be formed, because that was a tricky area. And it's like, I don't know. Like, the 5-minute wasn't great on both of these previous losses. Like, this kind of thing right here doesn't look great. But also, this first thing didn't look great and it recovered. So maybe trying the second thing doesn't work? I don't know. This is me trying some bullshit again. It's okay. This is the second candle. Although it kind of creeps lower. Should have been in a little bit earlier. I think I back off here because I know it's not reasonable for me to just jump back in. Yeah. All right. I hope I back off. I think I back off. Yeah, I don't trade it. Cool. All right, so now when it does quiet down, start to move sideways, there is a problem. It's below this pivot, and it's like, now I'm fighting the wind, whatever. So do that. That. Check, check, check. On the next one, 1038 to 43. Now this one had hints of genius and hints of madness. And I don't like being in this area. I like being in solid performance. But the genius madness scale on this one, I kind of had a feeling it was going to happen. This had been going sideways for a long time. The volume looked right. It had enough volume, as in more than 1 million shares a 5-minute candle for me. I mean, it's just a rough kind of guideline. It's the close of the 30-minute candle. It looks like it wanted to retest $3, retest VWAP maybe. And I'm thinking like, all right, we'll see what you got. And I'm up $20 on it. Yippee. So at this point of the day, I'm down 400. And let's take a look at what happens here. I'm going to fast forward to so I'm letting it kind of consolidate, letting it do its thing, letting it do its multiple tests, because it doesn't look fantastic, but it does look like it does want to go eventually. And I kind of break the water on some shit trade where it's just like nothing really crazy. It's just like I take a 2-cent loss basically on 2,500 shares, which is fine. I don't take it in the most ideal location. It's not at the lows. Who cares? I take it right here basically. Where is it? Yeah, I'm at 79, thinking it's just gonna magically bust higher instead of taking it. Actually, no, I might take it in the right location and just get slipped. Let's see. Oh wait, sorry. You're not gonna be able to see this okay, so yeah, this is what I'm talking about. It's kind of going sideways here, churning on volume. All right. So it dips down here. I take it. it signals kind of that it wants to go higher for a second there, as in it bounced back above, but sellers quickly came in and were like, we'll take those orders. And I do get filled kind of high. But that's okay. Like the initial orders are usually, yeah, because I'm getting in on like sort of like neutral price action, I still get slippage. Not crazy slippage, but I still get a couple cents slippage. Whereas like if I were to get in on action down here, I would probably, be getting filled at a solid, or like after a flush, I'd be getting filled, yeah, solid 74 right there. I'd be getting filled at solid 73. But you're also buying this ugly setup, which for some people works out. And most times it really does work out. Look, that would have been back up to 77 by 75, 75 by 77. Having said that, though, I do this weird sort of like triple click in. I don't know if it's out of frustration, but it's like, oh, look at this setup. It looks like I really think it has to test VWAP again, or at least 3. And I don't know what's going. I mean, let me rephrase that. I'm getting more comfortable in my predictions and with a little bit bigger size, and I jump in pretty nicely in size wise. So I'm triple clicked in there, thinking that it's going to be the fake out of the fake out. But it's not going. It's hesitating. I'm in with 7,500 shares at 79. There is a bid. The bid gets eaten. I'm like, nah, I got to get out. So now I'm down 262. That puts me down 662 at least on the day. And I'm like, ooh, okay. That wasn't fun. This was a neutral stock for me. I was down only a little bit on it. But now, and then off to the left, we have Mulan going, and then I'm going to botch some trades on that in a second. But then it keeps holding. Like, I think it's dead. The 40-minute candle's coming. The close of the 40-minute, like 1040, is coming. And I'm watching it still. I'm like, I probably messed this up. It's probably okay. I had a 4-cent loss. It was a big position. I gave it the room it needed. I cut when I needed to. It's not looking great down here. And there's other stuff going on. Probably should let it be. Now there's this like really low volume gray candle beneath these levels, beneath the 9 EMA on the 5-minute, the 20 SMA on the 1-minute. They're all really popular, and this is a contra play, and I'm swimming against the tide. All these things are going through my mind. And not to mention any emotion I had, which is a significant amount, although it was slightly bottled down, which is okay. Just I can't let it come out of my actions, which it kind of did. And it's kind of not great. But aggressive, be aggressive. So I was playing with knife fights. This is what I put. I wrote playing with knives in the, what did it say? Low volume knife fight on ENVB. This is what it felt like. And so when I say that, I mean like it's dry. It's low on the day. It looks like it could go either way. And having said that, it also was one of the only runners and one of the only things that's still kind of holding sideways, aside from MULN, of the day. And one of the only things that looks like it has any potential to come back. And so having said that, I'm like, I think people are watching this. I think it's still early-ish in the day. It's not like it's like drifting lower at, 12:30 or 1:30, it's still relatively high volume, as in like there were still about 1 million shares per 5-minute candle. And I'm looking at it, and it has that potential. It has that look where I think it wants to go high, and I think people will get scared out, and so I'm still looking at it. And so here I really had the potential to be down. I think I was probably going to risk 1,000 unconsciously, or I guess subconsciously. The risk was like being down around 1,000 on the day, because the stop out from this would be pretty manky, especially if this failed in a quick manner. I think I'd probably be able to get out, and maybe on a good side, maybe minus 400. So everything had to be really timed well and executed nicely. And I knew it was coming from a position of weakness, so I had to cut quickly. And so I have made a decent amount of money before doing this. I've also lost a decent amount of money before doing this. So this is the result of that. And so, okay, looking at it, watching level 2, it's back up to 79, and I'm like, no effing way. There's a red candle there. So it's like shorts are probably pretty strong, or thinking they're strong. Let's see what else happens. There's some green on the tape. And honestly, it's not even that much. Not even that much. That's maybe like 3,000 shares, I think, total. Well, I'll give it 4 or 5. But it's spread out. And then there are another 5,000 shares just underneath the ask on the free broker order. Okay. More green. And then I'm back in, because I think it has merit, and I get filled decently. Average price of 83, 82.8, 282.8, about 283, and it's already at 83 by 85, and I'm like, okay, and it's holding above. Okay, and I'll go 1, 2. Let the other one ride for a second, but I'm just like, I'm out. And then that puts me from down 287 to up to 287, or roughly down 250 to up 250 on that name. And it put me down to only minus 98 on the day. And then I proceed to like lose some, gain some on MULN. And that brings us to the last and final review here, which is MULN. I kept trying to play it well. So I didn't take anything on the way up. And I was like, let me see here. Can I take this off the $5 level? I mean, there's already some problems here. They don't seem too crazy. It looks like it can go. Let's see. It's kind of hesitating. It keeps retesting highs. I'm like, let's see here. I'm going to try a dip, I think. What happens? What happens here? So I'm being pretty patient. I will say I'm not jumping in. I'm not thinking it's going to do a breakout. Yeah, these are always, it's like at the high of the range, it's not going anywhere. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, let's do some double checking here. What would it look like? Make this nice kind of U parabolic thing, like this kind of parabola. I guess, is that what you call it? Parabola. Zoop-a-doop-a-doo. ENVB is failing. Kind of does a mini test here. Would I have been able to get in here? Let's see. It's sort of walking in space. It like doesn't make a decision. Sometimes I fear these because I feel like if it gets in, the algorithm just hunts me because it causes too much of a shakeup. Maybe I just come in with too much size initially, and so it's like, eh. But okay, so it pushes up high. Nicely high, actually. Makes a new mini high. Then it comes down. And it's going to break this kind of trend line here. This up, it's like, I think I'm going to draw it in just a second here. Yeah, there we go. It's like a nice ascending trend line. It's going to come in and break it. And I'm going to be like, let's see what this step looks like. And here, I do much better this time. Make an adjustment to where, like, yes, I follow the rules. I'm waiting for the close of this candle. I hope I'm not bullshitting. But what the thing is it already bounces 10 cents, 20 cents off that low. And 20 cents is a lot. And so I'm thinking, okay, so this is the, so this is a close here. Ooh, that was the problem. I bought on the dip below where I expected it to dip. Should be cutting here. Yep, and I cut there. All right, well, I bought at what, 33? That was actually, the only thing that I would have changed is usually when it dips below this 20 SMA. So like there's so many rules that I have in place. And there's two here that I'm breaking. One is there's kind of like an ascending trend line also here that it's breaking or running into, I guess. Might be running into. But it's below the 20 SMA. Just breaking levels, breaks lower, high volume. And so this dip is kind of like, it's making progress. I don't want to be. I was thinking more like down in the 60s. Yeah, I was thinking about the buy here. But it kind of just good. There was no resistance in that. It just went down. And then kept going lower right there. Cut it. I thought it was going to halt down. I think it does tap the halt level and may even halt. There we go. Boom. And so I lost there. And then that was that. I do make a little bit back, a little bit further on as it curls here. Although it's not fantastic, I don't really trade it that well, but I'm back to like down 20 bucks on it, basically flat. I was playing the whole thing with only 500 shares a trade, which, not really significant at all. It's just enough to feel the consequences of the actions that I take. And with that having said, I am done with the day. I will catch you guys mañana. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful night. Be sure to like and subscribe. By the way, day trading is risky. This is not investment advice. This is not for me to encourage you to buy or trade, be a day trader, anything like that. This is purely for entertainment purposes only, for infotainment, just to let you know what day in the life of a day trader is like, kind of things that we go through, and the kind of things that, you know, I am working through in my journey to become a better day trader. So be safe. The market wants your money. Don't guard that money with everything you got. Anyways, until next time, guys. Peace out.